Welcome to session. We're going to talk about running MarkLogic on Azure. I'm Aaron Rosenbaum. I used to be PM over cloud. Azure's new announcement, and Azure support is part of 9. Our commitment integration with Microsoft goes back to day 1. We've always shipped on Windows, various Office adapters and SharePoint integration. We started working with, I think first customer was doing some work on Azure about 5-6 years ago, right? Anyone who's been in ops and cloud has probably talked to me about, yeah, it runs. And that's progressed now with improved storage, improved demand from customers, improved use from customers, to sort of increasing level of support, certification, marketplace availability. So I want to introduce Al Carey, who came in from Redmond as part of the Azure group, and talk about Azure, MarkLogic and Azure. And Emma, the PM after, is going to walk through a demo of the offering and how it works.
Thank you, Aaron. I think I have a mic. So
you have a mic.
Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for attending our session today. I'm here from Microsoft and super excited to be here to talk to you about Microsoft Azure. And very excited about having MarkLogic on our family. We have welcomed MarkLogic as of today to, as of yesterday, in fact, where you can deploy MarkLogic on Azure. Azure is a cloud platform. Show of hands, who haven't heard of it? Come on. Well, this is a great time for you to be here, to know what Azure has to offer and where Azure stands today. But first, I want to kind of put things in context. In the past few years, since the year 2000, if you all haven't noticed, about 52% of the Fortune 500 companies are no longer with us today. That was all due to digital disruption. Digital disruption is something that happened to a lot of companies. Many of you heard of Uber. Have anyone not heard of Uber? Right. Uber is now valued at almost $62 billion and has disrupted an industry that has been pretty much untouched for generations. And they did it all without owning a single car. They disrupted the entire industry, became the largest taxi company in the history of taxis. The way we see our customers work with their customers, our partners and our customers work on enabling their digital transformation in utilizing some of the key aspects in engaging their customers, in empowering their employees, and optimizing their operations, and finally in transforming their own product lines. So if we look ahead, that's a look back, let's look ahead. In the next few years, what's going to happen? So a lot of the forecasts that we are commissioning indicate that by 2020, there will be about 1 million devices coming online every hour. And in about 20 years, the average age for an S&P 500 company will be 12 years, compared to 60 years of age as of the 1960s. And today, 81% of businesses are using hybrid cloud. There's 19% left. We expect those 19% to utilize hybrid cloud in one way or another by the end of next year. So what is Microsoft Azure? Microsoft Azure is our cloud platform. We're very proud of what we have done. It's based on these 4 pillars. Trust, where you can really trust your data and applications to our platform. It's open and hybrid, where you can build utilizing your own operating systems, your own applications, your own platform of choice. It enables app innovations, and it utilizes intelligent services. So we don't take trust lightly. I don't know if you have heard about all the different problems that many other cloud providers have had, and many other IT providers have dealt with. Trust is something that we take very seriously. We really work really hard to make sure that your data is protected with us, that your applications are safe with us, and that you could trust us to host your business. We do that by a couple of different ways. Internally, and this is the first time we talk about this, we have completely autonomous teams that actually work on two different sides of making sure that our platform is solid. A red team that actually do the penetration testing and the attacks, and they deploy all kinds of tools that hackers deploy today against your applications, and a blue team that actually defends against and protects from and finds solutions for and restore the environment after an attack. The cool thing about this is both teams are completely unaware of each other. They completely work in full autonomy of each other. We also have a really solid Azure Security Center that integrates not only our security tools, but all of our partner security tools, a massive ecosystem of every security vendor out there to support and to secure your platform. All of it designed to give you full access, full protection, and prevention, and to give you all the alerts and the monitoring that you need to make sure that your environment is safe. For those of you who have not yet heard of Azure, I'm so sorry. We are everywhere. We have 38 regions. We are 2 times the size of our 4 next competitors combined in terms of reach, in terms of size, in terms of capacity, in terms of coverage, in terms of region, in terms of availability, name it. We are double all of the other vendors combined. And that explains why we're growing so fast. We are actually catching up so fast. We have not shown that matching revenue numbers to other competitors yet, but we are really growing at almost 5 times of any of our other competitors today. What's really cool about regions is we have multiple regions that are available for the public, but there are regions that are specific to specific requirements, where data sovereignty is an important element, where you want your data to sit in one specific boundary and never leave that. Many European countries, many entities like governments, armies, and what have you, don't like their data going out of specific boundaries, and we are trusted with that data to protect it. To validate the trust, there's not a single certification that I've heard of ever my entire career, not on that slide. We are very proud and very privileged to have certification of almost every entity out there in the world that guarantees compliance and guarantees governance for your data. The next thing I'm going to talk about on Azure is how open and how hybrid it is. With Azure, you can deploy your current solutions on Azure with whatever it is the operating system you're building with, whatever is the application platform you're developing on, whether that's Node.js or a Linux server or a Windows server, Python, any application platform that you're developing on is available on Azure today. The other thing that makes us super unique is that you could deploy your apps in the cloud and on-prem utilizing the same platform, the same Azure tools, and the same environment as if you did not leave your data center. It all happens in the same interface. So to explain that a little bit, what does it mean to be hybrid? It's not necessarily only about your ability to transfer workloads from one place to another. Being hybrid is not necessarily about your ability to have a workload running in your data center spill over to a cloud platform when you need it. It's a lot more than that. It's about integrating your identity services. It's about integrating your ability to manage those services across the cloud and your platform. It's about your consistent delivery and your consistent SLA to your users. It's also about that unified deployment and DevOps in how you deploy services. You could easily imagine the hybrid cloud as enabling you to create your own region within Azure, but that region is actually sitting in your own data center, hosting your own data and protecting it from the entire world. But you're managing that data directly from the same interface you manage your public cloud with. So to drill down even more, if your data is on-prem or on cloud, all of these management tools and facilities are available to you to manage across. So if your infrastructure and apps are sitting on-prem and your management and data and users are sitting in the cloud, it's so easy to switch that. It's all mouse clicks away. You just move data back and forth or move services back and forth between your public and your private cloud. Simply as easy as right-clicking and selecting a different region. That region could be your data center, could be Japan, or whatever other region you want to move your application to. App innovation is a really cool thing. We have seen over the past several years how mobile have become so prevalent in everybody's life. Everything is about the app today. And we work with developers. All of us are so interested in and working really hard to supporting developers to come up with all these new great tools and apps that are making our lives richer. So our aim is to make sure that it's easy to build, easy to deploy, easy to manage, and easy to run on Azure, and fast. So let's talk about IaaS offerings at a very high level. Whether you're bringing an application from your on-prem solution or from a physical to virtual or from virtual to cloud, you're doing a lift and shift of an application as is with an operating system. You move it together with your VM, put that VM on the cloud, and it's running just as you did for your legacy applications. If containers is your strategy, very hot topic today in the industry. If you have not heard of containers yet, it's really one of the technologies that are making things so much faster and so much more agile than they used to be. With our platform, you can deploy containers so fast, in about minutes. You deploy a full cluster, whether that cluster is Kubernetes, Mesosphere, or Swarm. You select whichever platform you want, and in seconds, in minutes actually, just 5 minutes, you deployed a full cluster that is capable of hosting your most complex, geographically distributed application in containers. Service Fabrics is our Uber technology for deploying microservices. You're not deploying the specific containers or applications, you're deploying specific services to service your application, and it's so easy to use and so quick. We also host all of our other partners and even competitors' PaaS platforms. So if you want to deploy Red Hat OpenShift, you deploy Red Hat OpenShift on top of IaaS, and you're running OpenShift. If you want to do Cloud Foundry, you want to deploy whatever other PaaS platform that your team is comfortable with, it's so easy to deploy it on Azure. It's all built-in templates that you just right-click and deploy, and you're ready to go. That brings me to our PaaS. That's where we started. Our history with Azure started with PaaS, and then we graduated to IaaS and started offering all of this gamut of services. With PaaS, you have app services to deliver application services on top of popular frameworks, whether they are PHP-based, Python, or Node.js, whatever is the app that you like to build your application on, whatever is the platform, it's available in Azure. You could also deploy functions for specific application reactive services. And you could build logic apps, you could build Power Apps. The platform has almost every application or tool a developer would want in their portfolio, in their toolbox to develop the applications they need. So how do you manage Azure? You have a a really nice, very easy to use, user-friendly Azure portal, which many of us use on a daily basis to deploy services, to watch what our app is doing, whatever is our VM is running, or the entire application. But we complement that with something called Application Insight. Your applications are, especially when they start growing and they start scaling out and you start having multitude of them, you start seeing a lot of behaviors happening within the application that you might want to monitor. You want to see what is going on. We all talk about scale out as if it is the holy grail, and it's amazing when your application reaches certain levels of thresholds that you're able to actually scale it out to other regions and enable more capacity to meet your customers' demand. But we never actually go back and analyze how did that happen, why did it happen, how can we be prepared for it going forward, and how can we properly size our applications. And App Insight actually give you a lot of that details right on a silver platter. It's right there in front of you on a really easy to read dashboard. The operations management is one of my favorite, coolest toys. It really is a very nice technology that allows you to manage your cloud applications or virtual applications, whether they're sitting on Azure Stack on-prem, or they're sitting on any other competitive private cloud platform, being OpenStack or VMware or others, and also any of our competitors. So from operations management, you could actually manage an instance running on Azure and scale that out to AWS. And you could seamlessly manage both applications on all clouds. If you talk about open, you all heard Gary talk about cloud neutrality at his keynotes. I think that's the coolest idea. I think that's phenomenal, and that's 100% in line with our strategy. We are an open company, and we work with everybody. And to make sure that you all heard that, we enable you to work across the borderlines. There is no aisle for us. We work across. We enable you to manage your applications here, there, and everywhere. My second favorite tool is an acquisition we made a couple of years ago called Xamarin. Xamarin is a mobile app development tool that allows you to write your code in C# once and once only. And it automatically scales it to all the mobile platforms for you. You deploy an app once, you roll it out on iPhone, on Android, on whatever other mobile platform you wish. It does that all translation and code generation for you, so you just roll it out across in consistent manner. You have the same look and feel, you have the same buttons, you have the same user experience. What makes this more powerful? Well, if you're developing an app, you have to deploy a lot of underlying infrastructure for it, but you also have to develop some of the tools. User authentication, push notification, offline data, etc. A lot of things require a lot of work ahead to prepare for your application. All of that is built in for you. You don't have to work on it. It's all ready. Some of the most advanced features that we're seeing today are coming from cognitive services and data intelligence. So you also heard Gary talk about data. So you have all this data, what do you do with it? If you have a ton of data out there, what's the point? If you don't make sense of that data, and if you don't make it easy to make sense of that data is really meaningless. If you have to hire a data scientist or a group of data scientists to actually drive any value from your data, you've already invested half of your budget in doing that, but you also lost half the battle because somebody else has done that already, and you're reinventing the wheel. What are some of the data you see? I think we all are aware of data sources. We have the traditional data from CRM and ERP. You have the web data from logs and search and whatever else comes out of the web, like your browsing history that's now available to everybody, and your URL searches and so on. And on top of that comes big data. And big data not only comes from users, it comes from sensors. IoT dumps a whole load of big data in our data lakes that makes it super valuable, but also very hard to make any sense of. I have heard some wild numbers about how many tweets go out every day and how many Facebook postings and what have you. You all do the math how much big data can be. So what's the use of big data if you can't analyze it? Well, with cognitive services, with Azure, you can take all this big data, put it in HD Insight, which is our version of Hadoop, analyze it, put it in a repository, and make it available to search, and make it available to your users with the least amount of effort. Machine learning is a new technology that we are very excited about and super happy to be on the front leading edge of the technology. We're not the only ones investing in machine learning. A bunch of other companies are. But we are investing so much in making machine learning accessible to everyone. We're investing so much in making machine learning mainstream because we feel that's something that's going to really impact how the industry develops solutions going forward. Machine learning is really a simple way for allowing machines to learn based on experiences and additional user feedback. Our cognitive services are adding artificial intelligence, which is not just a buzzword anymore. It's not the Arnold Schwarzenegger type version of artificial intelligence. It's real, and it's here, and it actually works, and it works really well. And we're all experiencing a lot of it every day today. So it allows things for natural language processing, for prompting for input from the user. It allows for really good prompts for choices, for integration with other systems like CRM, like other technologies that have data about your prospects. And it adds cognitive services on top of it. And then it also allows all of the other tools, like analyzing your images, analyzing your sentiment, analyzing what's behind what you're trying to say, and what's that impact going to be. Some of our artificial intelligence examples include vision. One of our competitors make a big deal, a big announcement about their ability to do that. We've been doing that for years. You take a picture, you analyze what's on the picture, you label the picture with whatever is on there. So if it's a bicycle or it's an airplane with wheels that look like a bicycle, the technology can now tell you specifically what's in that picture, label it with all the specific labels so you can tell. In the background, there is a statue of Michelangelo, and that statue is smiling, unlike the original, which is not. So you could even get to that level of depth of details in analyzing images. Speech, text-to-speech, and speech-to-text is something we all now become familiar with. And language processing, knowledge generation, and our search engine. If I leave you with anything today, I want you to remember that Azure is your platform that provides you with the trust to put your data. It's a platform that's open and hybrid that allows you the ability to deploy whatever open source or proprietary solutions that you need. And allows for innovation, makes it so easy for you to create. And it is a data-driven, intelligent platform that's going to put that data to use. And to talk quickly about our momentum, 90% of Fortune 500 companies are now using Microsoft Cloud. I'll let you read the other numbers because it's so hard to see them from here. But some of those numbers are really telling. We're really enjoying that momentum. We're super happy to be here at MarkLogic World and to have MarkLogic in our family. And we're looking forward to working with each and every one of you on making your success on MarkLogic a really good story to tell and to walk out with flying colors. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you, Al. Thank you for the very detailed explanation on the Azure services. So I do want to see a show of hands if you have deployed applications or databases on Azure. Oh, wow, we actually have some experienced audience. Have you deployed MarkLogic on Azure? Oh, we have one from MarkLogic, of course. Well, there's actually a possibility, even if we just released the public image yesterday. It was on, our MarkLogic image was available yesterday morning, but we do have customers running MarkLogic 8 on Azure platform. The difference is for MarkLogic 9, we are officially supporting Azure as a platform of choice. That means we are, Microsoft Azure and us, we are putting mutual support for commitment and support to our customers. If our customer running into issues, deploying and provisioning, and also some other challenges, both companies, we're committed to making it happen for you. So what we offer as, for MarkLogic 9 on Azure is easy to access Azure image on the marketplace. It is built on top of CentOS 7.3. And currently, we support the developer version and bring your own license version, which means if you have existing license, you can already deploy on Microsoft Azure. Or if you're a developer wanting to try out, you can get a developer license and try out very easily. I'm going to demo in a little bit. In a few months, we're going to release the solution template, Azure solution template, which will allow you to deploy a single node and 3-node cluster very easily through a few clicks. Currently, we provide the instruction for you to start with the Azure image, and that's also available on MarkLogic's website. So we're hoping to onboard our developer community very easily on Azure platform. All right, without further ado, I'm going to do a live demo. Are you guys excited for the live demo? Yeah, I'm excited. All right. Let me first change to escape. All right. I need to do. I need to change to the screen, right? Escape. All right. I think I'll have to do this in I'll do a mirror image. All right. Okay. So now you'll see this is the marketplace image that we have the MarkLogic Developer 9. And let's continue. So this will take you to our MarkLogic offering with the marketing material. You'll find more resources here. We are using the resource manager to deploy, and just click on create. Now it takes you to the portal where there are 5 steps to set up the virtual machine with MarkLogic on. All right, this might be a little bit challenging since I'm doing this on that screen. Let's do ML9. Yes, let's do the virtual machine name. Demo 3. Yeah. And here you can choose different types of VM disk size, disk type, SSD or HDD. And let's keep it SSD. Yeah, username, let's do ML9, demo 3, admin. There are 2 types of authentication type for your virtual machine. I'm going to choose the password option. Let's do a very secure password. So there's password policy enforcement here. So you have to find good password. All right, it matches. You can choose between your subscription type, and I'm going to keep it, this particular subscription. And let's scroll down. You can use existing resource type or create a new. I am going to create a new resource type. I'll keep it for a East US location. That's one of the region. And click OK. All right. Will take me to the second step where you can choose different size for the virtual machine. And there are two types of supported this type on Azure platform. And if I leave it as SSD, there are some of the virtual machines will support that and some would not. I'll leave it in SSD in this demo, and you can view all of the virtual machine type. For this demo, I'm going to choose the DS3 V2 and select. Now, here's some optional features you can configure your storage, whether you want it to be a managed disk or unmanaged disk. For the new VMs, Azure recommends to use the managed disk, so I'll click yes here. For all the network, I am going to keep it as the default value here. And you can also deploy your extensions there if you have. I don't have extensions for this demo. And I'll keep everything as default. Now, I'll click OK here, and it will give me take me to the summary screen. And if you see there are settings that you want to change, you can go back to the previous step and modify. All right, I'm happy with this setting. And it'll take me to the screen where it shows all the pricing information. So for this developer version, since it's free with MarkLogic, so MarkLogic costs $0 per hour. And it takes, it will cost you the infrastructure costs with Azure platform. And you can read over the terms. Now I'm ready to purchase. All right, it's going to take a few minutes for the deployment. I think we're just going to let it deploy in the background, and now we're ready for question and answer. All right, please. I think there's a mic for the question, right? Okay. No, it's okay.
So basically to run MarkLogic in Azure, we need to have it running within a virtual machine. I guess that's a yes.
You have to put MarkLogic on a virtual machine.
Okay.
And it's already built in for this image.
Okay.
So you just select that developer version or BIOL and then spin it up, and you can add more nodes to it.
Okay.
I have more instruction on the developer side, guiding you through setting up the cluster.
Are there plans for a Windows operating system virtual machine?
Currently, we are actually testing that. Maybe in the roadmap, we're considering that, yes. And we do have customers running on Windows Server already. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Windows now and would like to remain on Windows, but move to Azure.
Yeah, let's talk offline on that. Yeah. I think Aaron has some.
So I want to just reiterate, yeah, we are committed to Windows, and we're committed to Windows and the way customers want to run it. They said they want to run it on Azure, and we're clear. There's been both in 8.0 maintenance and in 9.0 some significant performance work on underlying Windows. We're dealing with and making sure it's running as fast as possible. And we're doing all that perf work on Azure now, today.
Yeah.
right? So that is now our sort of, we're already doing perf regressions and functional regressions in Azure in preparation for being able to support Windows on Azure more broadly, because we know people are running it already. But in terms of really stepping up the next level of support, we don't have an announcement of a date.
There's one thing I'd like to add. With the recent WannaCrypt virus or worm that spread out on Windows systems, all of Azure got patched so quickly when that threat was discovered. So none of our customers had any impact. So when a threat like that is detected and a vulnerability is realized, the images themselves, the Windows images themselves, get updated. So the impact is literally neutralized and the threat is removed.
I had a question about disks. I saw some of that information in the configuration. I know, at least last time I checked, MarkLogic recommends having your forests about maximum of about 300 gigabytes. But if you, last time I went into Azure to play with it, if you wanted the high-speed disk, it came at a minimum of 1 terabyte size. I was just curious if there's any change there or what MarkLogic recommends for disk configuration.
So we are working on recommendation. I think it will be similar to what we normally recommend to the on-prem environment. So you're saying that you cannot select anything less than 1 terabyte?
You can, but you have to, you end up with not the highest performance disk offered by Azure.
I see.
So you end up with lower performance tiers.
I think someone...
Yeah, I think you were referring to the throughput per disk. Yeah, so if you are aiming for a particular throughput that we're recommending, you may have to over-provision at this point. Yeah, that is true.
Agree with P10s, but multiple P20s, fine. Actually, 2 P20s outperform P30 in our tests.
Yeah, we... So the VM is up right now, and I can copy and go to a MarkLogic instance. All right. I'm going to the 8001 port there. All right, now it guides you to the install page for MarkLogic, and from there it's basically following the instruction for the on-prem, and you'll be having a MarkLogic single node cluster from there. More questions?
If you don't ask questions, we'll ask some. You didn't know you were going to get quizzed, did you? So you all see how easy it is to deploy MarkLogic. Now, this MarkLogic deployment is inclusive of everything. You're not going to have to add drivers or configure your VM or worry about the back-end infrastructure. All what's required of you to do is what Emma just did. And configuring your MarkLogic software from here is just like you would do it otherwise on-prem or on any other platform.
If for some reason you needed to get it to a console to check logs or check process status, or something goes wrong, you need to hack around in the virtual machine.
So
how do you get there from here?
you want to go to the console?
Well, I want to have access to the operating system. I want to be able to look at the running processes.
You have to SSH into that virtual machine.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So there's like a window manager that's...
No, this is a Linux machine, so as long as you have IP address, just SSHing to with the password.
Okay, but I'm window manager, I meant like a GUI for, some Linux don't have GUIs. I don't know much about CentOS.
So there are 2 ways to do this. You use on Windows, you use something like PuTTY to SSH into the instance to that same IP address and the password you created. Or there is a shell interpreter inside the interface. So you could, in the Azure interface, click on it and click Launch Shell and just do that work directly from the shell.
There's no GUI.
There's no GUI.
So,
Linux is text-based.
Yeah, Linux is command line based. However, if you want to see some of the statistics for the virtual machine, you can go to the portal, and you can enable the diagnostic log. So when we were testing, we can see some of that information is about the virtual machine OS level log. So you can enable that and look at that. However, I think if you want to have an in-depth analysis on your virtual machine, you will have to go to the Linux command line and retrieve the information there. Yeah, there's some basic information in the portal, and you can also, there are performance monitoring on the portal as well. That's offered by Azure, actually. Yeah.
Somebody else there had another question? Okay, he changed his mind.
All right, okay.
Where's my thing?
Yeah.
I think we're good on time.
All right.
Well, I guess that's
Thank
it then.
you.
Thank you both.
Thank you
Great
very much, everybody.
presentation.
Really appreciate it.